My name is Amath Pathé Sene. So I am the managing director of the Africa Food System Forum, formerly known as AGRF or Africa Green Revolution Forum. I am from Senegal and extremely passionate about agriculture and food system. So more linked to my childhood, originally from an area where it's called the Groundnut Basin in Senegal. Whoever knows Senegal is the groundnut. So I've been going there from my childhood, back and forth from a city to the rural area. And very young, was connected to the rural area, but also this passion to see things changing and also improving the life of those communities that are in rural area. So this has pushed me to first became an agricultural engineer. So it's not by accident. And also decided to work on in agriculture development, rebuilding agricultural economies in countries that are affected, post-conflict countries. And by the way, my international career started in Afghanistan before coming back to Africa, which is my homeland. So today I feel as an African who, as part of the solution, we should push this agenda at the global level, at the country level, at regional level, but also bring the best of Africa. And today I think Africa could feed the world, but also be able to create jobs and opportunities for youth and women.
What are the most common challenges and opportunities of agriculture across Africa?
So the most challenging aspect of on agric and food system on Africa, I may go through a long list. First, number one is our agriculture is rain-fed. And unfortunately, when we talk about rain-fed, it's just like few months. In some area, the continent, 3 months or even less, and not mechanized. So irrigation outside the rainy season is a problem. So in terms of numbers in Africa, irrigation potential is huge, but 6% is irrigated as opposed to South Asia where you have 56%. So that reduces productivity because you just produce 3 months instead of producing like something like 12 months. So second, we have also an issue related to information, data, and digitalization. So when you want to make decision, when you want to also improve your production, you need information. So that is missing. And nowadays we are in the era in digitalization. Unfortunately, we don't have those information, and it is connected to number three, which is finance and risk. So when we don't have information, we don't know who you are. Obviously, financial institutions, including microfinance, banks, insurance, they are a bit reluctant to give you investment and to give you loans or any type of investment you may require. So it's key that the both connected, so at least we can reduce also the risk related to our smallholder farming, but also the entire food system from production, processing to the market. Number three is related to capacity. So agriculture has been always traditional, and it should be seen as a business, an opportunity. So a business, it requires to modernize it, it requires also to know how it should work. So capacity of youth, women, engineering, technicians working to solve with local solution. And I think our ecosystem provide also that one. Number fifth is, climate change, which is a big problem right now for all agricultural economies, particularly in Africa. So you can see from the Sahel, the Horn of Africa, and all those areas, we have a lot of issues related to rainfall, variability, temperature, and then you have also drought, but also floods. So, and this is also one of those big problem we need to deal with. And then the rest is now related to context. So context of risk capacity, operational, political. When you want to invest and you have all those type of risk and it's not de-risk, then unfortunately you cannot really invest at scale to those ones. So those are, the big issues that we have, and obviously you can add also innovation, but innovation adapted to our context. Aside the challenges, we have massive opportunities. Continent which has almost 60% of the arable rain around the world. So we have also various ecosystem. For the case of Tanzania today, you have like from the north to the south to the west, central, you have different ecosystem. And if you talk about agriculture and ecosystem, it means you can grow many things. And if you can grow many things, you can feed your people, but also export, make business, and add value to those productions. So those are number one opportunity. Number two, our population, extremely young. In some countries, those who have less than 25 years are almost like between 50 to 60%. So which means it's a workforce, and then we need to provide them jobs. You have our women in, rural areas. They're in the whole value chain, all agri-food system value chain, around 60%. They are also a workforce, and they are part of the solution. We do have also a market. So Africa today, 1.4 billion, soon to 2 billion people. So and very soon, urbanization, a lot of demand in terms of food. So and today we are importing more than $75 billion in terms of food, which means there is a capacity gap in terms of production and also in terms of supply to the market, which can be done by our economies, agricultural economies. So it's a huge, huge one, and it's a continent on the construction. The good part of it is also people are very positive. You have a new generation who want to change things, see things changing. So there is kind of a good movement to feed people, but also create jobs through agriculture, agri-food system, value chain, make this sector working for all. So huge opportunities of investment for investors where you don't necessarily have a lot of competition, and you will have a higher return on investment when you come and invest also on the continent.
Why Tanzania is here, and what the impact is you see the summit having to Tanzania's agriculture sector?
So Tanzania as a country has been always a lead on the agricultural sector since independence up to now. You can see it from the evolution of the agricultural sector in Tanzania, but also the modernization and also the mechanization, industrialization of the sector. So two is Tanzania currently is the food basket of the region. So the country is self-sufficient in a certain number of commodities, more than 116% in terms of production. And if you take just the example of rice, the country supplied to many countries, in this region, which is a substitute to the importation. And within the Africa free trade market, so Tanzania can supply all countries around the region, the SADC and COMESA, and also beyond in other regions, instead of importing huge volume of commodities from Asia or other part of the world. So the country has land, the country has also a lot of ecosystems, so various commodity from tree crops to staple crops. You have also like the coastal for fishery, but also the opportunity to produce a lot of meat and milk. So in a way, you have here a country that can feed a lot of countries in the region, and still a lot of opportunities and untapped opportunities, in terms of land, but also in terms of possibilities. So the country is open to business. You can see it from the growth data and evolution, the sector, but also the investment in the agricultural sector in general, food system, which is huge. So the country has also the political leadership right now. It is pushing to reposition as a lead in the region for the agricultural and food system transformation. So I think all those aspects put together With that leadership, Tanzania bid to organize this meeting and this big annual summit and to showcase, the Africa solution to food system transformation. So the country is leading on food system pathway, and I think all those elements has been put on the table to, select Tanzania as the venue for the Africa Food System Forum 2023.
Okay, what are the main goals of 2023 Africa Food System Summit?
So the main goals for the Africa Food System Forum Summit are as follows. Number one is the Africa agenda on food system and agri sector, and also the policies and political direction which Africa should take when we talk about food system. So two is we would like also from an African perspective to assess a progress in terms of a food system pathway. All countries 2 years ago have been engaged on the food system transformation. Tanzania is one of those lead. It will be the year to come and discuss progress and also get well prepared when we are moving ahead on the agenda of 2030, but also the Paris Climate Agreement ahead the COP28 in Dubai. So number three is this forum is an opportunity for investment. So many stakeholders are coming to meet, to discuss, but also to see opportunities in the country, on the continent, but opportunity also between different regions. So whether it is South America, discussing global agendas, but also investment to move the policy into action. So and fourth is Tanzania will showcase innovation as well as the entire Africa, but innovation in terms of how food system can be transformed in Tanzania. And we will be also discussing the BBT, which is one of a big flagship program from a bankability and also implementation way. So we were all working with other partners to make sure that at this forum, so action and implementation of the BBT is real, with massive investment coming from the different partners. And lastly, it is a networking. It's a networking. We exchange ideas. It will be connections, South-South triangular cooperation, but also it's the opportunity for, particularly for youth and women, those who are involved on agri-food system value chain, from production to processing to market to trade, to come, if you have an MSME, to be able to discuss with investors, get your investment, support it, matchmaking, and follow up through our deal rooms. So this is the main objective of this forum, and also the whole political visibility and positioning of Tanzania as one of the lead in the region.
Okay, can you elaborate on how the theme recovery generates African solution to food system transformation will you shape the discussions and action to the summit?
Yeah, so the theme of this year is Recover, Regenerate and Act. So as you know, Africa has been also impacted by the global crisis, particularly COVID. So we are coming out of it. And then other crises, the Ukrainian and the Russia crisis, so which impact the agricultural sector, the food system in general in Africa. So those who are trading, getting fertilizer, but also grain from those countries are currently badly affected. The industry of fertilizer now need to be rethink. So, and within this context, you have also climate crisis and also economic downturn. So when the African economies, ag economies, food system have shown resilience to shocks. So within the past years, so economies were able to bounce back, and that's why we are now looking at it from, you bounce back, but you need to rethink your system. system, political, policy, operation, investment. So all of this will be one of the debates around the recovery. So regenerate is more linked to our solution. So the theme is Africa solution to food system for this year, particularly focusing on youth and women, which is one of the main topic for all African leaders, but particularly here in Tanzania and Her Excellency Mama Samia. So that is key for the country, and it is important for all ministries to work together to bring solution. So at least we scale up, leapfrog, not necessarily trying to start from where solutions are, but how can we speed up with all solutions that exist and regenerate all system. But that can be only done without getting financing. So that's the act. The act is more implementation, to get budget, to get investment require and make things work. So that's why the whole theme is extremely coherent, and the entire discussion room on food system will be around that, but with a focus on youth and women. Make sure that youth and women opportunities are sized by them, and this forum is not only a global forum just to meet and talk, but after the forum you have also actionable plan, as well as also a certain number of investment deals and programs that are born as legacy from this annual summit.
How does the summit plan to foster large scale and action by stakeholders across multiple sectors?
Yeah, the Africa Food System Summit, when you talk about food system, it's really like a lot of stakeholders. It's not only the agricultural sectors, it goes beyond. You have Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Investment, Health, Gender, etc. So it's the entire process from the moment you produce the food that will come to your table, but also all the actors along the way when the food is coming there, and whenever you need one of them and at what time they have to be useful to the healthy food. You will be resilient, enough, accessible, affordable, and tomorrow it is on your table and you can feed those people. But at the same time, across that journey, you have a multiple stakeholders. So this summit, those multiple stakeholders will be coming to discuss in an integrated way on how to transform food system, not just only one. What's the governance around it? Those policies, how do we monitor it? And how do we really report on results and make our food system transform as quick as possible to be able to feed our population, but also to bring in stability, particularly where food has been also the source of conflict and instability.
You talk about the women and youth. So what do you see the youth and women playing in the transformation of African food system?
Mm-hmm. So in any society, particularly in Africa, when you look at and you look at the numbers, earlier I was saying, youth 25 year and under, you have in many countries now it's more than 60% of the population. It's huge. So the women has been the backbone of all economies. So when you reduce the gender gap, you have so many studies, then you can increase production and productivity along the food system. Women are all in the ag sector in Africa, but also in the transformation food system value chain. So every segment you have women there. In some segment they're almost like between 70 and 80%. So if you want to change things, so these are the population you should, the demographic. Second, if resources, access to resources and access to knowledge, access to capacity, access to decision making, when youth and women are integrated, you are 100% sure that you will have change. So these things element currently is not happening everywhere, because you have again that gap in many society, linked to context, linked to custom, culture, and a certain number of norms that need to be also discussed, and we advance this agenda, because at the end of the day, it's going to help to accelerate food system transformation, and nutrition security, but also create wealth job for youth and women, and also create stable and prosperous societies in Africa.
Okay.